heard a lot of very, very good presentations. Mine is the last. I know it's late. I know we've been sitting for a while. If you don't mind, will you all stand for a minute? I wish I could invite the musician here to make us all dance. I've heard so many inspirational presentations this evening. I will not like to repeat all of them. And I'd rather talk very, very briefly about my own upbringing, very briefly. Because as a person, it may surprise you that I don't like putting a lot of the spotlight on myself. It's just a personal thing. I want to continue by acknowledging my parents. It's when you grow up that you really appreciate what it is that they were trying to do in your life. Like all of us, we feel our mothers talk too much and our fathers are too known and all of that. Our children will say the same, so don't worry. But we recognize that, the parents are the first teachers. So every person is a teacher here. I'm very proud to have spent my entire life in the lecture theater. And I think it's the best thing, one of the best things I could have done with myself. I grew up in a non-threatening environment. Completely non-threatening. My parents, my father especially, wouldn't have anybody hate his child. I've never been hit in my life. And I keep telling myself, if I'm hit, it will be once. Maybe because I didn't see it coming, but I'll not be there for the second one. So I don't approve of corporal punishment for anything. I think that no matter how young a child is, once the child can hear, you can reason with the child. Yes, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of time. But then why are you a parent? A parent is not a cup of tea. So you need to invest time. You need to invest the skill in them. So I never had any of those. I had brothers and sisters. There was no discrimination in my home about boys can do this or girls couldn't do that. So I didn't have any experience of it till I went to boarding school. Then you listen to your friends and so on, and you begin to pick up what challenges others may have had. And like a couple, my opinion was sought very early in life. I went to boarding school very early, but by the time we came home for Easter or Christmas, arrangements would have been made for our clothes and would be taken to the shops, and then would be shown a certain shelf and would be told you can pick from this. So yes, the restriction was there, but it wasn't in your face. And we would choose the colors we wanted, my sisters and I. My brothers will also have their turn with the tailors. Then they'll take us to the seamstress. And we always had very good seamstresses. I remember as a child, my seamstress was a French woman who sewed very well. So we'll go to Mrs. Guy, and she'll open the catalog to the children's page. And then we'll be directed to choose that. You can choose from this page. And of course, as a child, I never knew how important that was. That the agency for decision, even at that age, was being put in my hands. I had taken it for granted. And so today, if I recognize my parents, it is for that. That they didn't make me afraid to make a choice. Sometimes you choose, the style comes and you don't like it, but you chose it. So you're also learning responsibility. That freedom comes with responsibility. And it wasn't a sermon, it was a lived experience. So I'm raising all of these to recognize the roles that they have played in my life. We just enjoyed it. Boys and girls, we all played football, we all played netball. It was okay. And some of my older cousins who were at the university then, And my younger uncle, who was also at the university, would come and spend vacation with us, and would all play the game. And it was okay. And I thought that was how it was until later on. But I think these have all come in handy, even in my work as a lecturer, teaching adults, so that you put the agency in their hands and you encourage them to make the decisions. So I keep saying that in my lecture theaters, I don't teach. I don't think, and she's laughing because she was in one of my classes. I don't teach. What I tried to do was to create the environment for the learning to occur, for the student to learn on him or herself. Because I didn't think, and I never think, that I know so much and that others don't know anything. And I enjoy teaching because there's always something you learn from your students. It's just joyful. It can be the same course for 5 years, for 8 years. And yet every time is refreshing because the students have come with different perspectives. Fortunately, I'm a literary critic. So let's say I'm in literature. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's not 2 by 2 is this or that. No, we don't do that there. We create the environment for everybody's thought to be validated. Insofar as you're supporting the argument with logic, we are happy with it. But you know, this evening, we have heard so much also about the bottlenecks or the pressures that we face as women. And I don't want us to forget that. Yes, we need the confidence, we need all the things that will allow us to do the things and raise the 13%. And actually, it is something I have agonized over for a long time. And it led to a paper I did some time ago when I asked myself, have we always been like this? Have African women always been like this? So as Achebe will ask in one of his novels, when did the rain begin to beat us? And this time it's not just the African women, it's the African men too. It's all of us who are struggling with who we are. How come we don't know who we are? How come we think that by bleaching ourselves we are beautiful? So, you know, all the people who came with I'm Black and Proud and the Black Panthers and so, you know, what did they achieve? How come in the 21st century we are killing ourselves this way? How did we end up abdicating even thinking? How did we loathe ourselves so much? How did we end up waiting for the good in us to be pronounced by people who've never liked us anyway? Have you thought about it? You want to look like who? All that bleaching, who do you think you'll end up looking at? Does that person appreciate who you are? So you see, it's not about the person you are trying to please. The point I'm making is that it's about yourself. It's about you. Who are you? What informs your being? Where will the confidence come from if you are mimicking people who don't like you? How did we end up hating ourselves to the extent that we even hate our names? We hate our languages. We think we are embarrassed to say we like the food we grow. How about our traditions? I'm sure you have a lot to tell. So, it brings me to the gist of my presentation. And the point I want to make is that we have come a long way. We have come a long way. If we want to go forward, you must always know where you've come from. Where have we come from? What is our history as Africans, as Ghanaians? Our history did not begin with independence. Our history is not about colonialism. How long did colonialism end in this country? 113 years. How long did slavery end? I mean, how long did it last, rather? Over 400 years. Where is it? Where is it in our consciousness? Where is it in the way we teach our children? Where is it in the way we want to learn? And who says that the women were asleep then? Today we talk about women as if we've just been discovered. That gets on my last nerve. We've always been here. We are not a new creation. We are not a new invention. We didn't just drop from nowhere. And in all these struggles we have gone through as Africans, the women have played their role. But somehow, for no reason, I think, or for no good reason, we like to pretend that, they are not there. And to the extent that even what we think is beautiful about us should not be pronounced by us. And the self-loathing has gotten to the extent where we don't even know how to build each other up. These are things we must learn. Abba, your next workshop. We need many more such workshops. We need to build each other up. But we need to begin to appreciate who we have been. I don't know where you all come from, but I don't come from the middle of a city. And when we go home, I just want us to look around us, from our own homes, from our own families, from the people we work with, and the people around us. How many people in your village, how many women in your village, or the town you come from, or the city you come from, do nothing at all? How many? So they are all active doing something. So is that news that we are working? It's not, and it shouldn't be. Whether it's in the fishing industry, if the women are not the ones sitting on the boat and going to the sea to bring the fish, let me tell you that the men's job ends at the beach. Who carries the fish home? Who processes the fish? Who makes sure that the herring can last for a year? Are you sure? Yes. Who transports the fish on a rickety bone shaker? You see them at dawn with their cloth, hugging them and traveling with the fish from Elmina to Burkina. Who does that? So, what's the conclusion? How about hunting? Never believe the theories. Oh, the women were the gatherers, the men were the hunters. Says who? Not in our culture. Women hunted. Even in the military, of the Amazons. If you don't know, it doesn't matter. You can find out. Of even in something as debilitating and as damaging as military war, the women were there. So if today somebody is talking about, women cannot be in the military and so, that's their problem. We have done too much essentializing other people's problems as ours. They are not our problems. How about healing? Are women healers? Are you sure? What do they heal? Women are bone setters. Such a difficult profession. Is it true? Who prepares the medications? So are they not pharmacists? Who turns the corn to corn beer? Who turns the palm oil to palm kernel oil and palm oil? So are they scientists? So if you don't find them in the hospitals, what has happened? What has happened? If you don't find them wearing the gowns in the labs, then you say, we don't see women scientists. They are everywhere. It's just that we have defined all these things wrongly in a way that removes the women. Have you thought about this?
Oh, yes.
How about finance? Yeah, they don't wear the suits and go to the, to the corporate board markets and have meetings. Watch them in the market. Don't tell me women don't do mathematics. I don't believe it for a minute. If that child in the classroom is not doing well in maths, it's not because she's a girl. Far from it. There is something in that classroom making it impossible for the girl to advance in mathematics. And that is what we need to identify and remove. As we need to identify many things and remove from the paths of the growth of women. Education, the education begins from the home. We've heard Esther, we've heard the Honorable Minister, we've heard Joyce, and I'm sure there are many more stories about the ways our mothers have trained us. What training college did they go to? Okay? So I think part of it is that we have not properly faced our history. So we don't even realize that we have come a long way. And we have survived a lot. And we will survive much more if we remember those who've come before us. In our recent history, we have the Queen Aminas. Read about them. Fascinating. Now you have all the phones. You know, it's not like my time. I have to go to the library, look at the subject catalog, look at the author's catalog, climb the stairs, get the books, and, you know, of course, some of the sites are not credible, so also don't believe all the things you read. But I think it's relatively easier. There were the Queen Aminas, the Queen Nzingas, our own Yasantua. Where are the, I think one person raised it. Where are the women who helped the liberation struggles? Where are the women who stopped slavery in our part of the world? All we hear is that we sold each other. I've disputed that in another paper, so let's put that aside. Because I didn't think it was possible. Okay? So where are they? Why don't we hear about them? We have our currency. I don't take anything from the 5 males who are there. But where are the women? Not one. Not one. So what are we going to do to raise the 13 points? The 5, 13% women. How did we end up like this? And I put the blame on many issues. Religion is one of them. It's as if so when you are a Christian woman, then what? Where did that come from? Remember the story of Mary and Martha? Who can tell us the story? When one was busy trying to cook and so on, what did Jesus say? That the one who was studying had chosen the better thing. How often have you heard that in your church? No. You don't hear that. It's about, be submissive. In fact, every wedding I've ever attended, and they quote verse 21, and they leave out 22. They leave the previous verse, the 20 and 21, and they always harness on 22. It's a question of power. Bottom line, it's a question of power. But you make yourself powerless. It is because we make ourselves powerless that we become powerless. That is all. If you decide you will not be powerless, you'll be powerful. No one can take it away from you, and no one will give you power. You must get it for yourself. There are choices to make. I remember there was a young lady talking about somebody who she wanted to go to work, and the husband said no, and I sympathize with that. But it's a choice she has made. It's a choice she has made. Why is she complaining to us? And apart from religion, and I'm sure the other religions will also have their own, and there are many more. I don't think Jesus ever said a single negative word about any woman. I don't see it in any of the Gospels. And ladies, please, let's read that Bible for ourselves. Let us read it for ourselves and find out all the things they are preaching at us. Is it true? Most of the time, I don't think so, because I bothered to read the story myself. Do the same. Okay? So apart from the religion, there's also school, my own education. We also haven't tried. We haven't done well at all, especially to do with women. Do you know the person who said that if you do not give women the rights they need, then you are disenfranchising more than half the population, and that is a waste? That was Plato. That was Plato, thousands of years before the Bible. That was Plato. Today we quote it as if we have invented the words. They are not ours. He saw that in any society it didn't make sense to ground the majority of the women, because at the time he was writing, the status of women was just about the status of slaves then, who had no rights, who had no citizenship, who had no voices. But it was rather Aristotle who started talking about how women are inferior and so on. And amazingly, that has found its way into our syllabi. Just as Christ's own ideas about women have not been raised as much as St. Paul's, the same thing has happened in the school, in academia. And I'm sure we'll find many, many examples. And one of course, our history too, we have talked about. Insofar as we know, there are women who have fought, there are women who sacrificed. Without them, I don't think we'd be here. And yet, we want to behave as if, maybe they were not even part of the population. And who said that to educate a man is to educate an individual, and to educate a woman is to educate a nation? Who said that? Agree. Today, people are, that's what we feel. And every time I've had a chance to be at any conference, I've always taken pains to explain that. This is an Akan male. Male. So how did we end up fighting the guys? Where did it come from? Oh, it's the men who are oppressing us. And so on and so forth. It's true and false. We have allowed ourselves to be oppressed. That is all. And I remember when I was teaching women in development, and I used to ask the class, so, at the end of the day, when you go to the market, do you see a sign there saying that women's price? And then they'll find it amusing, like you are. And is there a men's price? No. So I used to tell the girls, you are here to study. You decide to turn your room into a kitchen. That is your choice. Don't come 10 years later telling me how we were in the same class and now he's oppressing me. You put yourself in the position of oppression right at the beginning. So it's your fault. You want change to occur, it begins with yourself. You want to have confidence, nobody will give it to you. You can have your mentor, we'll do the best we can. But you see, it's all about intention. Why are you doing this? So that what? And if you have any doubt, look at the women around you. They've been to school, they haven't been to school. That's neither here nor there. Why is it? I think if the truth must be told, it's those of us who've been to school who are the most timid. Have you noticed that? Yes. So what has happened? And we think that, we are now going to school and to become independent, and we know and so on. We don't. We don't, because we have not bothered to find out the wisdom of those who have not had it the way we have. We have started thinking we know too much, so we are even lost and we don't know it. Simply because your grandmother didn't go to school. After all, what really is it that we have learned that is so special. They know something we don't know. We know a little.